welcome back. This is Danielle from Explore Yourself Natural, and today I'm just going to do a little bit of labeling. I have been making lots of product in the last week or so, and I figured I would come on here and chit chat with you while I labeled some of my products. So let's get started. So I have been missing for the last couple weeks. It's been a difficult first quarter of 2024. What I mean by that is my financial goals are being met, but like my creative goals, like what I'm looking to or how I'm looking to expand my business, new ideas, the creative juices are kind of like at a standstill right now. And it's difficult when you're running a business all by yourself, which I'm so thankful for. Don't get me wrong, like super thankful for what it is that I do, the opportunities that I have, but it can get really lonely and it can get quite stagnant. I like to do different things all the time. If you tell me to do the same thing over and over again, like I'm going to get bored. And you're by yourself all the time. And there's only so many things that you can do when you're repeating the same process for the same products for so long. Like it just gets dull. You know what I mean? Like you're making, say, like lip balms once a month and you're labeling the same and you're making the same sense. Like that's where I'm falling behind is in the colder months. I typically never do markets in the winter. So from January till April or May, like I've been doing this for far too long now. Since 2016, I've been doing this, right? So 8-9 years. And like, I've never done or had to do winter markets before. And now I do. It's just part of the business. There's a lot more people that are making bath and body products that maybe weren't a couple years ago. So you end up with a lot more competition. It's not competition by any means. It's more or less just like, there's more of them. So you need to find different approaches to make yourself different and more unique than the others around you. And I think it just, at least for me, like I don't love the promotion, social media part of this business. Like it's not my favorite. If it were up to me and I had the funds, I would pay for somebody to handle the books for me, like 100%, and social media. Like those are two things that I don't really like to do. I mean, hopefully you're lucky enough that you can love every part of your business, but I don't. You know what I mean? And I think that's why I kept my business a hobby for so long, is because like I don't enjoy having to be super consistent with social media or following up with my books all the time, putting in all the receipts, stuff like that. Like I don't like that part. So I think I know that's where I struggle. So with that being said, pretty much I'm just in like a little divot. I'm not at my best, just simply because I'm getting kind of bored with everything. And I do have some really good ideas. Mother's Day is coming up and I'm totally behind on it. But I wanted to make a couple products special for Mother's Day. And every year I do this and I think to myself, should I make a product special for Mother's Day? You can only get it at Mother's Day. That's great. I love the concept behind it. But then like the negative portion or maybe the business part of me comes out and says like, what if you can't sell all of the units of whatever that like product is that you're making? Like what then, you know? Because you always anything that you're making, you want to make sure that you're selling at top dollar, you're giving your customer what they want, and you're estimating the right amount to make. Because it's also, you know, that double-edged sword. You're going to make too many and not enough, you know, you're going to have a lot left over. Or you say, okay, this year I'm going to like bring it back. Last year I sold 100 units. So this year I'll make 75 and then 125 sell. Like it's just that always when you think you know, or you think you're like, okay, I got this. Like I understand the concept of whatever it is. You don't got this. And if you do, please tell me your magic because I still can't figure it out. Just when I think I understand, I finally understand whatever it is. Like I guess I would say like maybe my customer or like the buying capacity. That's probably where that part of me is always thinks that I know and then I don't. And then you're like, okay, I got this. My customer likes to have on the spring launch, they like to have, isn't as busy as maybe like your winter launch. So I'll make 50 of this and then no one buys it. But last year you sold out immediately. Like you can never get to the exact number. Like what's the magic sauce? What's the magic formula? Do you have it? Do any of us have it? Or do we just all pretend like we do? I don't know. So that's where I am right now is just being a little bit bored. So I thought that I would make up some Mother's Day gift sets, just 2 of them. There is going to be some like a new product that's only going to be released for this Mother's Day gift box. But I think I'm just going to make it extremely limited, like 24 of them. And then that's that, just so I know I'll definitely sell out of them. But also like if someone's looking for it, like I don't want to not have it. It's just, it is what it is. It's part of the business, I guess. But I'm doing it more or less just to stop being bored. So from a business standpoint, please tell me your aspects on this because of the boredom. And I don't get bored like super easy, but when you're just doing the same thing and you're making the same product all the time, and I only do seasonal releases, like what do you do to keep yourself like fresh, like to feel fresh? Do you make like random products? Do you experiment like all the time? Like say I want to make something, do you just make it? And do you just utilize it as like your hobby? Do you make it and take it as a loss in it, in a formulation? Like how do you go about that the right way? So many questions. So many questions today. So I guess that's where I am. I'm really excited about the summertime, like super excited. Last year, I had the most markets I've ever had, and I did okay. The weather in New England was absolutely atrocious. I mean, it's never great weather in New England. It's usually super, super hot or super, super rainy. And we got a lot of rain last year. So a lot of the markets that I signed up for were canceled or postponed, or they went on and I chose not to go due to the type of product that I have. So I lost a lot of money in regards to markets themselves. Like I did good at the markets that I went to, not amazing, but not terrible at the same time. Like I'm thankful for what I have. But I think last year was difficult for a lot of people. So I don't think it was just me. All the other vendors that I've talked to, for the most part, say the same thing. So this year, I feel like I don't want to say it's a make or break, but I think for me, it's a make or break, but I don't know how. I don't know if that means like I pull back on certain things and refocus on others. Like I feel like this year is going to be a year that I do a lot of growing. And I don't mean necessarily that I have to do growing in my business. Like I could just be restructuring. Maybe I choose to go only retail and not wholesale unless it's a company that I align with 100%. Like I don't know. I'm just trying to figure out not so much like I used to do, and I'm totally, this is 100% on me. I would like follow the money. So if somebody wanted to work with me, wholesale with me, that type of thing, I would just take it. 100% take it. I'd just be excited that it was somewhere. And I don't think I would necessarily vet that company the way they were vetting me. I was just like, great, it's going to be awesome. More people see my stuff. And I think that I'm at a point right now that the money isn't always worth it if they're not genuine connections and it's a company that you completely align with. Because what happens is you're going to get a company that might be like an 80% match, let's just say, right? Some of your customers are going to go there, some of them aren't. Or your ideal customer, right? So this is like my, new mind frame. And they're going to buy your product and they're going to put it in their store, and it's not going to sell the way they thought it was going to sell because it's not your ideal customer. And I say that because they're not going to necessarily buy again, because if it's not your ideal customer and they're not making the money that they put into it, and then you're not getting the repeat buy from that wholesaler, like it just might not be the right fit. And so from now on, I think that I need to vet them as much as they're vetting me for that reason. Am I excited that that company has reached out to me and want to sell my products? 100%. I love it. I think it's amazing. But if they are not my ideal fit and my customer isn't going to go in there to buy it, meaning that they aren't going to unload my product the way they think they are, should I work with them? And that's what I think that I need to do more of. And I think a lot of us fall into this regularly. And that's the same. It's not just wholesale. I'm talking about across the board. Markets, if you do consignment, whatever it is, however you're selling your product, even on like the internet, if you're going on like a third party, like Etsy, or I know there's a couple other handmade markets that they're doing like online now. Is your ideal customer gonna be there? And I think that that is what I need to work on in 2024. I don't think so much it's 100% growth. I mean, everybody wants to grow, right? Everybody wants to make money. But like if I'm going to the wrong places, I'm wasting my time. I'm wasting my time. I'm wasting their time. And so that's where I think that the headspace I'm at. I also want to make a lot of new products. I want to experiment more than I ever have. But I struggle with what can I make? Because I've put myself in this niche box, which is what my company is built on, making all natural products that are, on the healthier side, have less processed or dangerous formulations, which is in and of itself is its own thing. I don't think my goal ever when making my business was to put myself in that type of box, but it was in regards to the name and why. Like, I'm my ideal customer, right? Okay. I go to farmers markets. I go to handmade markets. I buy things that are natural and fragrance free and that type of thing. I'm my own customer, right? I know what I do and don't want, but on the flip side, I've niched down a lot, which is what, if you're going to have coaches or whatever, they're going to say niche down, niche down, niche down. I like the concept, but I don't think how do you say? I think I may have niched down too much. And I'm just trying to find like that happy medium, like that bubble that's just, you know what I mean? That everybody can get a little. I want to offer things to not everybody, but to a majority of people, right? My company is all natural bath and body. I sell more or less to women. I market to women. I state in all of my advertising stuff, this is for women. Was it a good thing or a bad thing? I still don't know yet. It's been about a year or maybe 2 years since I've done that. The male customers I had before, I still have. I still sell to men, but I don't have products specifically made for men anymore. You know what I mean? Like I don't have beard balms and stuff like that like I used to. So it's just like trying to find the sweet spot. Like, do you ever find the sweet spot as a business owner? Genuine question. Do you always just continue to pivot with keeping your core line and keeping your core values as a company together and pivot when you can? Like, I don't know. I think that that's where I'm trying to make a difference, trying to be better in that aspect, is trying to figure out that answer. Is there an answer? Is every business different? Does everybody chase the money or pivot with the money? Do you stay aligned with where you are and just hope as time goes, you ebb and flow? I would love to know what others are doing, how they're managing that type of stuff, and I'm so lucky. I hope it doesn't come across as that I'm not lucky and thankful. I am, but I need to keep myself happy as well, because there's no sense in continuing on if I'm not feeling happy and fulfilled. Because, at the end of the day, like, money comes and goes, but me being here, the whole purpose of enjoying the human experience is to experience it and not just work to make money to buy things. Like, that doesn't do it for me. Do I like money? Yes. Do I need it to live? Yes. But it's just trying to find that like happy medium, I'm struggling with that a little bit. So if anybody has any advice on that subject, please let me know. Where are you right now? Do you have a business? How's your business going? How do you keep yourself happy and fulfilled, when things get like monotonous like that? Do you experiment a lot? And if you do, how do you go about that? Do you just use it as like a hobby and you take the loss? Are you putting this into like a loss within the business for the experimentation? I think that that's something that I want to keep doing it, and I'll totally do it as like a loss if need be. But like, if there's a way to collect on that, I would love to do that, right? You want to try to be smart as well. But there's a lot of things that I have been experimenting with, but I want to try more. And because I do all natural, I think that I'm kind of limited. So obviously I'm limited when it comes to, or I've made myself limited, I should say that. It's what I've chosen to do as a business, is no fragrances, no like micas, that type of thing. But like because natural is so vague, right? I guess I just need to decide for me what that entails, what I'm comfortable doing and not doing. But is there anything in particular that you have made recently you're really enjoying, or that you'd like to see me make? I'd love to know. On another note, so we're off so many topics today, and I feel like I'm kind of being whiny, and I do apologize for that. Just been a weird first quarter. So I have officially rebranded all of my product. So still Spoil Yourself Natural. Everything's the same. I just upped all of my labels, and I'm really happy with them. I really like the way that it looks. I've done a bunch of markets now, and I love the way that my packaging looks. Like, I'm really happy with it. I will change it again. I know that I will. I always do. It's just part of being a business. Like, you want to appeal to your current customers as well. Like, if they see the same thing every time they come to the market and nothing's moved around, they're just going to walk by, right? You want something new and fresh. And that also includes your packaging. If your packaging stays the same for 10 years, like they're like, meh, it's the same. It's always going to be the same. And a lot of like bigger companies, I notice that they do that every couple of years. They will change their logo up, their packaging up, their even like their what do you call them? Like their taglines kind of change a little bit. Like not drastically by any means, but you'll see how things change. Like I know Walmart recently did it. Markets. So I've been doing markets for years. Last 2 seasons or 3 seasons, I really like came out of my shell and started going to multiple markets a week, like doing a season for the markets around. And you start to get comfortable. So what I noticed, or what I know, I should say, specifically about myself, that one just ripped, is I like to be comfortable. And what I mean by that is like, if I'm in a place and I'm like comfy cozy and like I know who everybody is, who the other people around me, who my regulars are, where to set up, all of that. I like that. I like being in a familiar place with familiar people. I don't necessarily love going to new events and knowing nobody and not having those relationships, not knowing where the bathroom is, not knowing the crowd that's going to show up. You think you know, like maybe you've stopped by that event and you're familiar. Stuff like that. That's what I mean. And so what I was doing is staying at the same events season after season after season. And it's not a bad thing, but it's not necessarily a good thing. Because the whole purpose of your business is to expand, right? You want more customers. You've gone to these events for 2 or 3 seasons, you've got your regulars. So even when you're not at that market, people know who you are. They might still order from you, pick up locally, you ship it out to them, however it might be, right? You've got your regulars. I need to expand and find new regulars and new places seasonally. So I've left 2 seasonal markets that I was doing. And I shouldn't say left, I stopped doing seasonal. So I am now doing once a month at these markets. So instead of going every week for the full season, I'm going to go once a month. And so I'm still appealing to my current customers at those markets. They can still come see me. They can still grab stuff, but I'm not there every week, right? And now I've found some other markets that are a little farther away. So it's nice when you have something that's right down the road, right? A town, 2 towns over. I feel like so where I'm located, this is so all over the place, but I live in Massachusetts, okay? When you think of Massachusetts, everyone's like, oh, you live near Boston. I do and I don't, okay? So Massachusetts is super small, like New England is super small, okay? So I live on the border of Massachusetts and Rhode Island. So Boston's like 30 minutes away. With traffic, it's an hour away, but I'm 4 minutes away from the Rhode Island border, right? So I can go to Cumberland, Pawtucket, Providence, all that way, right? Within 5 minutes. So what I had done is I stayed in my little Massachusetts bubble and I don't go toward Boston. Me and Boston, like I like Boston, but I'm not a Boston girl. Like I'm not a city girl. I don't enjoy going into the city. It doesn't do much for me, right? It just makes me an anxious ball of a mess. I don't like to drive in the city. I don't like anything about it. Like I'll go to dinner, whatever, with like a friend or my husband. I enjoy that. I don't like to drive in the city by myself. I don't like it. It costs a ton of money. It takes twice as long to get anywhere. You know, Boston's 15 miles away and it takes me an hour to get there. And then it costs me $50 to park somewhere. Markets are a little bit more expensive. Granted, I'd probably make more money. It's just not for me, right? You know, I know where I cap out at. I know what makes me super uncomfortable and just what makes me feel like, oh, this is new, right? And it might change, you know what I mean? But I'm almost 40 and Hasn't changed yet, so I don't see that happening. So, on a tangent about Boston. So, what I'm saying is, I always stayed close to my area. So, I'll go like 30 minutes around me, not in the city. But I would always stay in the Mass area. I never really ventured out into Rhode Island. And I've had a couple people reach out for wholesale in the Rhode Island area. I've done really well with customers that live out there. So I did decide to make that jump and actually like push myself into that area. And it's not just over the border, like I went all the way up. I am going to a couple markets now that are about 45 minutes to an hour away, which is really far for me. In all aspects, I know a lot of you, that's like normal. But when you live in such a small state or region and you can get everywhere so quickly, that's far. Okay, so I did start doing that in the winter. So I'd been trying to get into this market in Rhode Island this would have been my third year for the summer markets. Really popular. My ideal customers there. Like if you could, like to the T, is right there in this particular town. I know it. I've had wholesalers in this town. Like I do well in this town. So I decided, I was talking to a friend of mine at a market and she was telling me they have a winter market. And I was like, I'm not a fan of winter markets. She's like, well, if you do this winter market, I can almost guarantee you're going to get into the summer market. So I was like, okay, I'll try it. So I did 4 markets. I just did once a month for January, February, March, and April. And the foot traffic wasn't the best, but the people that were there, so say there's 300 people that go, right? It's not a lot of people. Of those 300 people, I probably got 30 sales, which is about 10%, which is really good. And say my average sale is $25 in Massachusetts. In this town, my average sale would probably be like 45. So the people were there to buy, and what I was offering them, they were interested in. So I did sign up for the summer market. I did get approved. I'm just waiting on my dates. But for me, this is really big because I'm getting out of my comfort zone. I'm not going to the same 5 or 6 markets that I've been going to for a couple years. I'm gaining new customers. I'm gaining new friends that are in the industry as well, other small makers. And that part's exciting. I am enjoying that very much. But I say all of this, like not to be braggy by any means. I know sometimes it's hard to give you a peek into my life as a business, to share, to hopefully give you some insight. Maybe you're learning something or seeing something that hasn't been done that way and you're like, I like the way that's done. That's the whole purpose of this YouTube channel, right? Is to just feel like you're a part of a community, gain some knowledge, and just feel like not so alone sometimes. Like that's all I've ever wanted within this channel, right? That's all you want. And when I say certain things, like I don't want you to think that I'm saying it to not give you the knowledge. It's more or less so that you can utilize it in your own way. So I say all of that so that you will get out of your comfort hole, whatever it might be, and just try something new. Sometimes the most simple things that are the most simple things we forget about or we don't think about. It can be right under our nose and it's like here, and they're like, come on, like figure it out. And you're just like looking in the clouds and you're like, la, 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 la. Totally forget about it unless someone looks at you and says, you need to try this again. Super easy, basic, try it. And then you're just like, oh, why didn't I think about that? I forgot about that. I do it all the time. I do it all the time in my business, in personal life. I'm like, why? Why? It's so easy. It's so simple. Why did I not do it? Forget about it, not think of it. So I'm saying this so that you'll think of it and remember it. And it could be of some use to you. All right, on to the next. We only have about 50 more to do. So for markets, I feel like this is something that a lot of people want to know. But there's only so much you can talk about markets because it's more of like a hands-on thing. And I will, if it's something that you're interested in, I would record from like start to finish. Like I could do a full, like you've seen me prep to get stuff ready. You've seen me take pictures or video when I'm at the market. Do you want to see like a full day, like how a full day goes? And I'm sure it'd probably be on the longer side of a video. Do you want to see me pack? Do you want to see me drive there, set it up, have conversations with customers, break it down? Like, would you be interested in a start to finish? Or what is it about markets that you want to know more of? Because that's one of my favorite things to do. I've noticed, like as time's gone on, like I like to make products, certain products more than others. Like lip balms obviously aren't my favorite thing to make, but like unless it's something like there's a handful of things like I could just make all day long and be like in my zone and like loving life. And then there are other things I'm just like, I have to do it. People like it. You give the people what they want. But I really have come a long way with markets. I used to hate them. I used to dread them. I couldn't sleep the night before. Am I going to get a spot that nobody's going to walk to? Are people not going to like my product? Is the vendor next to me not going to chit chat with me? Are they going to be mean to me? Am I going to know where something is? Like I used to owe it just in my head. Like, and that's just the type of person I am in my head, right? But I've come to like get really excited now for new markets. Do I get nervous? Well, of course, because it's like, it's something new, you know? But I'm more excited than I am nervous. And I've really enjoyed starting to go to new markets and meet different people and try different things, you know, different setups, different intros, different specials, like what makes a person want to buy from me or not buy from me? Like, what is it that I can do? How can I market my product in a way that makes it more enticing for a customer? That's stuff I've grown to enjoy a little bit more. And so with that being said, if you're interested in that, like a longer video in that aspect, do you want to see start to finish, how I interact with my customers, what I say, what I don't say, that type of thing? I could certainly do that. I don't know how much audio I could get based off the customer. Like, I'm sure that there'd be customers there that would be like, I totally want to be in a YouTube video. And then others that are like, absolutely not. But I could certainly try it if it's something that anyone's interested in. I could certainly do something like that. I think that would be a nice challenge. I'm sure it would take me a little while. But I'd be interested in something like that if I was like scrolling through YouTube and saw something. Because it's always nice to see how other people do things, right? You can always gain something from somebody. And I don't mean like copy them solely, but I mean like you gain inspiration. Which one's the broken one? You gain inspiration from them, you know, little tips and tricks from that person. So I will continue to do my lip balms. Please let me know if you have any questions. If you wanted to answer any of the million questions that I had in this video, I would greatly appreciate it. I hope to see you next week. I do have a couple videos lined up that are in my drafts, but they're just making of product. And I just haven't had a chance to do like voiceovers for them. Do you prefer voiceovers? Or do you like when I like chit chat with you like this? I don't know. I think it depends on the day. Like sometimes I like voiceovers and sometimes like I want to have a conversation with you. Get something to drink and just have a chit chat, right? All right. Well, I will see you in the next one. Have a great day. Thank you. Bye.